pictures and we pretend we're doing stuff.
I should say something totally controversial, like my good NBC morning show host.
The last name starts with a K.
Yeah. And doesn't spell her first name correctly. But
that's your opinion.
Yeah. Well, what do I know?
Yeah, right. Okay. Here we go. Oh, there's an ad. There's an ad playing, and here we go. And the real talking starts at some point.
Yes.
Because it's our streaming time. It's the weekly live stream.
That's right.
Weekly live stream.
Proud of the Avatar.
Oh wait, you're in front of it.
Shroud of the Avatar.
There we go. Weekly live stream.
This is a really long ad.
It's a super long ad. All right.
They can see us now.
Okay, they can see us now. All right, here we are. It is our weekly live stream, and surprise, we're super agile. It was going to be about deck building.
We're agile.
Agile. It's from Italy. Must be from Italy.
It must be.
Yeah. All right. So we were going to do something about deck building, but Vascorp Poor, Travis, his son got stung by a wasp. And he had to go pick him up. I know, sad. He's fine.
And now he's Wasp Boy.
Yes, he is Wasp Boy. He has superpowers that are wasp-like. And so he had to go pick his son up. So he was not going to be able to be here today. So we have to postpone that. But Chris Atos Spears is going to do a AAA, an Ask Atos Anything. So you're going to be able to ask him questions. So that's what we're going to do in the second half. So we're going to do our normal news segment here with Star and Sarah.
Yep.
And then we'll do just a Q&A afterwards. So surprise!
Surprise! I'll also be here for the Q&A, taking questions.
Yes.
And maybe answering some.
All right. So, as usual, we have our weekly live stream every week. Hence the term weekly. That was pretty. Yeah. Wow. That was super smart.
Mm.
All right. So we give out prizes, and we have a new prize phrase because we have new stretch goals in honor of what? What big thing happened in this release? Fish. It's all about the fish.
I don't know how to fish in real life.
My fun fact, I learned how to fish from my great-grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was actually the first, and maybe actually probably the only woman in Louisiana to run a cotton gin. So she was like this superwoman. She ran a cotton gin. She hunted and fished, and she taught me to drive a car. She taught me how to fish. She taught me how to crab. She taught me how to crawfish. She was like this. She was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, and her name was Hilda Goodo, but everyone called her Mama Hilda.
That's very Southern folksy.
Yeah, it's very folksy. It's kind of like we should have been a show.
Yeah.
Like me and my great grandmother going around fishing and crawfishing and going checking in on the cotton gin. Yeah, there should have been a ding ding ding. I like ding ding. Yeah, I know it sounds really okay. This was an awesome story. I'm glad I could share it. Anyway, so the prize phrase is.
Oh wait, I forgot. Reel it in.
There you go. That's the prize.
Is that exactly? Yes, that's exactly it. Reel it in, and that's REEL.
Yes.
Reel, like reel for fishing.
Yeah, a fishing reel. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. For someone who doesn't know how to fish, you got that right. All right. So so that's one of two ways to get a prize. So you can either make a purchase on the store. That's one way, or no purchase required because that is the law. You can go into the game, type in chat, reel it in. So those are the two ways that you can win a prize today.
And capitalization doesn't matter, and punctuation at the end doesn't matter.
Right.
Just the spelling.
But you can if you want. And if you do it while you're fishing, that would be awesome, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it while you're fishing, that would be great. So do it while you're fishing, and it won't make a difference, but it'll be awesome. And the prizes are all water themed because of the fishing thing. So it's a fishing sign, an ornate umbrella, and even a Shogun City water home.
Whoa!
What? Yeah,
It's a big ship.
it is a big ship, and it's Shogun themed. So we'll be giving out 2 prizes. So one at 4:15 and one at 4:45. So the 2 prize giveaways, and there you go. So and there's a bunch of what is there some?
Oh no, they were saying there's something on my face. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is there some? Okay.
I think.
Yeah, you might
probably
want to.
The tuna fish I had.
Oh yeah, right. I know.
Sorry guys.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of buying something from the store and prizes and there's a tons of sales going on. Like we went crazy for the holidays. Like we were just like, let's just go crazy and sell everything. So every Friday from now until December 21st, almost everything is on the store on Fridays is like 50% off. So like half price. Tons of stuff on the store. Crowns for the first time ever are on sale. So we've never had crowns on sale. And those are on sale all weekend long for 20% off. And the boxes are on sale. So both the box on Amazon and the box on our store are on sale. $40 off both of those through the December 21st. And then we're having a sale this weekend, again, in honor of fishing. Can you tell we're a little excited about fishing? We're super excited about the fishing expansions. So much stuff happened with fishing. So there's a sale all weekend with a bunch of water stuff, like the fishing sign, water lots, all the water homes, the duck, all the water.org, make a difference items, fountains, tubs. We have a lot of tubs. There's hot tubs and themed tub, like a Viking tub and a Shogun tub and a marble tub. All the water decorations, the umbrella, all that stuff's on sale. And if you make a purchase today, it's the first Friday that we're getting our R59 stretch goals, and our R59 live stream is going to be next Friday, and all the stretch goals are fish themed.
Whoa, so much fish!
It's all about the fish. It's all something fishy, and so the stretch goals are fish pavers, which we already hit, thanks to our participants in our rewards program. So as a reminder, if you join the rewards program, you get a great exchange rate on crowns, and you automatically participate in the stretch goals. You automatically get those. And so thanks to those folks, thank you rewards program members. We already hit the fish pavers, so those are going to be pavers with the cool fishing, that woodcut fishing sign that Scotty made. That's going to be some pavers with that. Next one up is going to be the fish throne. So it's going to be a throne with a fishing thing on it. And then the fish mask set. I cannot wait to see it. So our horse masks and our dragon mask. So it's going to be a set of masks where it's literally going to be the heads of all the cool fish we've been making that are going to be a full head mask. So you can role play being fish people.
Just those dead fish eyes.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome. So and maybe you can have like guild wars of like fish people versus horse people.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome? Or like fish people versus horse people versus dragon people. Or wyvern people, because we have wyvern masks. We added those in this release too. So it could be wyvern people versus dragon people versus horse people versus fish
bear people versus wolf people.
Oh, because it could be a whole like
versus stag
animal
people.
Wars. Animal wars.
Shroud of the Avatar is just going to become a furry game.
There you go. Yeah.
Why not? Live and let live.
Right. Exactly. And then I'm a little excited by the fish mask, if you can't tell. And then there's going to be some stone statues made out of the big trophy fish. So the really cool ones like the swordfish and the shark and things like that, we're going to make some stone statues out of. And then a fish shield, and this is the one that I had to debate with the artists. I was like, we have to make a sword out of the swordfish. I mean, come on, like a swordfish sword, right? So, and they were like, that's ridiculous. Like, why would you have a swordfish? It's going to look weird, and I'm like, exactly, it's going to look weird. It's a swordfish sword.
Is it going to be like a hilt where like your hand's in the head.
Exactly.
And then, okay,
yeah, your hand is
see
going to
it.
be like in the head of the swordfish, and then the sword is going to be like a rapier, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be like it's perfect, right?
Don't they do that in like Looney Tunes or something like that, where they like grab a swordfish out of the water and go?
Yeah, totally.
I
See,
don't know.
it totally makes sense.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
And then because we're so excited by the fish mask, then there's going to be the first fish mask set is going to be like like it's going to be like a tuna and like trout and things like that, like some of the regular, maybe a swordfish, so maybe one cool fish in there. But then
Your basic fish.
but then the big fish mask set, like it's going to be like that's going to be the
Shark.
It's going to be shark. So you can do the land shark. You can do your candygram. And then and it's going to lava fish. So those cool coelacanth like lava fish thing. We're going to make a mask out of that. And then another stretch goal is going to be a unique dungeon encounter room that's got a fishing spot inside of it, so you can go fishing inside your dungeon.
Ooh, basement fish.
And then the biggest one, of course, is going to be a fish scale armor. So it's going to be a fish themed armor.
So you'd be like Aquaman.
Yeah, totally. So you can role play Aquaman with your fish shield and your swordfish sword.
You don't have a trident.
And your fish mask. Oh my God, you could be a fish man in your fish scale armor with your swordfish sword and your fish shield. Man, I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? I can't imagine why not. All right. So we got a bunch of stuff expiring by the end of the year. So we got all the bundles are expiring by the end of the year. The Viking and Cobalt bundles, those are expiring at the end of November. And then we've got the Elven, Obsidian, and Shogun bundles. Those are expiring on the 21st of December. And so those are all going to be on sale coming up. Well, they're all on sale right now, and those are going to be all on sale through those expirations. And we, as we announced as part of this release, you can now upgrade those using crowns if you buy a service voucher for that and contact us, and we'll let you know how many crowns. And we've already had a few people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing that you've never been able to do before, is be able to upgrade your bundles with crowns. And we don't have automated way to do it in the store, but you can do that with a service voucher. So that's a new thing.
Goes to me.
Yeah. So Seraphina will take care of you for that if you submit a request. So we're still doing the final tests on it. I know we announced that we would have the bundles for individual purchase on the crown vendors. We haven't quite finished the final tests on that. So I know we said those would be in there, but we're still doing the tests on those.
Yes, Chaox and I are testing it very thoroughly. We want to make sure that it is absolutely perfect before it goes live, because once it's out, that's it. If it's broken, it's going to be very hard to fix. So better to wait just a couple more days.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so and then of course all of this is because Release 59 is live, so which is another amazing release. I'm so proud of this team. Again, amazing how much they get done in a month. And huge improvements to quality of life yet again. So we now have universal chat, so you can talk to anyone regardless of where they are in the game. We have open multiplayer in towns in the overworld and outskirts, so the world feels way more alive. The combination of universal chat and that really makes the world feel more alive. We have a new rewards UI, so you don't have to go to the bank to claim your rewards. You can claim your rewards literally from anywhere. With the bundles on the Crown Merchants, which we mentioned, it's going to go in a patch. We're still testing that, but it's going to come soon. The upgrades with crowns, we just mentioned that. No decay. So now when you die, there's no decay of your experience. So that's a huge deal. And of course, we removed all the restrictions on free play. So you now, free players can now trade with other players. They can now own property. They're not restricted to a single storyline. You can have the real Shroud of the Avatar experience. as a free player. So that, of course, is a huge deal. And many people are like, well, you should be talking about it more. And we are. We're going to be putting out a press release next week. We just wanted to get our usual post-release patches out of the way before we put up the big, wave bunches of flags and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to come out next week, and then that's when we're going to draw a lot of attention to ourselves.
So now it's a great time to get your friends and family to try out the game and start playing with you.
Yeah. And fishing, of course, in case we haven't said fishing a lot. I think we might have mentioned fishing a few times, but fishing phase 2, and it is so cool. So there's 3 different water types. There's over 25 new fish. And speaking of fish and water, we have prizes.
Prizes! Okay, the fishing sign 9-pack goes to Maddox. Wood duck goes to Ice Mistress. Ornate umbrella goes to Temujin. Viking bathtub goes to Leica Zaxon. The gondola water decoration goes to Reprobate. The pirate galleon town water home goes to Wolftim. The player-owned town village lot conversion goes to Zog. And the player-owned town village water lot property deed goes to Gawain Pureheart. Are we missing a prize?
No, I think I have a different list than that. But that's cool. That's great. Okay. Excellent. Congratulations, winners. Woohoo! All right. So fishing phase 2. So we got over 25 new fish to go along with the 3 water types. So now, originally there was only 1 water type, but now there's freshwater, saltwater, and fetid water. Fetid, that's the swamp and the dungeon water. We have trophy data on the fish, so you can catch like a fish that are different scales. Yes, and the recipes are coming in for the building your decorations for those with the trophy fish is coming in a patch probably on Monday. Sorry that got delayed a little bit. We had to do a bunch of testing on that. There's a bunch of different baits now. So you notice that sometimes when you're harvesting in agriculture, there's some new baits that are showing up, like some hoppers, basically grasshoppers, and different kinds of worms and things like that. So there's 10 different baits that are out there. There's a group bonus if you fish as a group, so you get experience bonus in that. And we took all of the existing fish recipes and we gave them intelligence bonus. So, and I know that people have been wanting more foods that give intelligence bonus, and guess what? Fish now do that. So. And it's good, yeah. So fishing phase 2. And now boxes are finally live in the Amazon store. We have a new deck selection UI. We totally revamped the new user experience. So there's a new tutorial section. We took out the tutorial from the story, so now there's story and tutorial are separated from each other. We separated which story path you take from what decks you start with. So you start with all 3 decks. So it's a much, much better user experience. We're going to be iterating on it for the next couple of releases as well. It's going to get better and better, but it's already better than it was. We have a new seasonal boss, Pumpkinhead, that uses a new boss behavior called Nearby Power. So he uses the pumpkins that are by him to make him more powerful. So you have to smash the pumpkins.
Spoilers.
Yeah, in order to defeat him. Well, it helps to smash the pumpkins and defeat him. We upgraded Owl's Head Sewers. It's now a tier 10 place, and it has a new Lich boss in there that also uses that nearby power. So all the undead near him make him more powerful. So you want to clear out those undead around him. We got more spooky recurring items. So spooky entrance patterns, undead specimen vats, and the undead.
That one.
Yeah, those are really cool. and that was a direct request by the players. The dual wax cylinder players now are also a radio, so you can right click on them and you can choose whether you want it to be a wax cylinder player or a radio. And player dungeons, that continues to expand, so now you can decorate them. There's more dungeon rooms and loot, and you can use a crown when you're crafting to make extra copies of the rooms as you're crafting them, and the hallways as you're crafting them. And with player housing, we doubled the limits for NPCs in your basements. and we added POT keep and castle lots to the crown vendors. So you can now get those really big gigantic lots from the crown vendors. And we've made a ton of performance improvements, including the next patch that's coming out. We finally found one of the hitching problems that has been plaguing us for a super long time, and it was a clue that some players have been telling us for a while now, like 6 months, where they kept saying, I wasn't having any hitching problems on QA, but I was having the hitching problems on live. And we discovered that there was a debug call that was being used on that would only get triggered on the live build and not on the QA build, ironically. It seems like it should be the other way around, but whatever. And that was causing a major performance, like literally for every single NPC in the scene, this was triggering an extra computational call that would cause a hitch in performance. And so we found that and fixed that. So that should, if it doesn't go in the patch for this weekend, it will definitely go in the patch on Monday. But I think it went in the patch for this weekend.
That's why being as detailed as you possibly can in your bug reporting is really important. Saying like, oh, I'm hitching isn't enough, but giving us that information of I wasn't hitching on QA, but I'm hitching on live.
Yeah,
that's
that was awesome. But we didn't realize. I mean, it took us forever to figure that out. You guys have been telling us forever. Anyway, we fixed it.
So it's our fault.
Yeah, but tons of bug fixes. So R59 is great. We're doing some patches. It's going to be even better. And then Q4, the rest of Q4 is going to be amazing. Fishing is going to continue to expand. So we're going to get lava fishing, fishing skills, new fishing recipes, including stuff that you can use the swordfish for. That might help with your combat with certain kinds of weapons. I don't know what a swordfish might help you with, but
a bow.
Let's see. More quality of life improvements, including the ability to bind everywhere, maybe. Backslot enchantments. More player-made dungeon stuff. Krampus, who's also going to use the nearby power stuff. So he's got a army of zombie children. It'd be awesome. So you got to kill all the got to kill all the children. I mean, zombie children. They're zombie children.
They're already dead.
Yeah, they're not children. They're zombie children. And more loot improvements. You're going to be able to store your vendor separate from your house. So if you swap your house, you're not going to have to restock your vendor. So that's Q4 2019. Tons more quality of life improvements like the bind everywhere. That's probably actually more realistically going to happen in 2019, but we're going to try and squeeze it into Q4. Oh, a new polearm type. I saw something scrolling by there about the Trident because we were talking about Aquaman. So we are actually going to make a new polearm type, which is going to be forks, which will include tridents.
My fork skills are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to call it something else.
That'll include tridents, pitchforks, etc. And so the daemon, the trident, that's going to be something you can get off him. So we are working on that actually. Crafting specialization, where you'll be able to choose your own effect once you choose a specialization in smithing or tailoring or alchemy instead of it being random. Grandmaster only effects in crafting. So these are effects that only show up when you reach Grandmaster level. More loot improvements, more weapons, including more weapon patterns, including more bows and crossbows and wands. Those are the three that we need more patterns of. More boss behaviors. So I know we added that nearby power one, but other ones we've been talking about are playing with the scale factor and the time factor. Those of you who were at one of the recent dance parties and you saw us playing with time and scale factors, we're talking about maybe seeing if there's some way we could work those into boss behaviors. And then, of course, 2019, our goal is to end 2019 with episode 2, which is going to have our big quest revamp, journal system revamp, theater system, treasure hunting with treasure maps, item affinity, where you'll be able to level up your weapons, and they'll get a title and bonuses, skeleton slayer, taming expansions, where you'll be able to level up your pet skills that you'll have access to, and you'll be able to trigger when you want. So that knockback that your bear has, you'll be able to level that up and trigger that when you want. Yeah, so 2019 is going to be cool. And let's see, projects to back that we mentioned in our weekly update. So there is an awesome documentary being made about Gary Gygax. He's the guy who wrote Dungeons and Dragons, which those of us who make video games, like 90% of us who are, my age, which is nearing the 50 mark, got our start playing Dungeons and Dragons back in the 70s and early 80s. And there's a documentary being made about Gary Gygax. So there's a Kickstarter about that called Dreams in Gary's Basement. And Indy Martin, who's done the Shroud of the Avatar comics, and she did a coloring book, an adult coloring book last year. She's doing another coloring book Kickstarter called Dragons and Dragonkin. She's doing a Kickstarter for that. Be a really cool. You can support that as well. And then tons of events. It turns out you guys like Halloween, apparently.
Wow, nerds like Halloween?
I know, it's crazy. So there is a Halloween ball tonight in Immortal City. There is a fishing derby tomorrow. There is a Halloween dance party and costume contest tomorrow night. And then there is a Design the S-Mart Heraldry contest that's running for, I think, the length of the release. And then Monday is the Release 59 dance party with yours truly doing the DJing. And then next Friday is our Release 59 live stream, which is all about the fish. And we're going to do a fishing deep dive, and then we're going to talk about all the cool boss behaviors, including the one that we just added, which was the nearby power, and some of the ones that we're brainstorming and that we want to add over time. So lots of cool stuff happening and coming up. And yes, I have stuff on my face. So I will finally acknowledge. Real quick story. So went to the Austin City Limits Festival with my wife and daughter. We saw this band called Golden Dawn Orchestra. My daughter decided that we as a family had to go to Halloween and to any costume type stuff as that band. They dress up in these elaborate sort of Egyptian costumes. And so I have this whole headdress and robe and collar and things like that. And so, yes, I have this like gold.
What's it? Did you get like stickers?
Yeah, there are these gold foil temporary, like that's a.
If you're ever in Austin, check out Golden Dawn Orchestra with an A.
Yeah, like
they're very good.
I'll post some pictures so you guys can see the whole costume. It's I didn't wear the headdress to work because it's a little warm.
I haven't gotten my Halloween costume 100% put together yet.
Yeah. So and also, by the way, we're experiencing some browser issues. So if your browser does lock up, we're working on a fix. We think we've identified where the stall is happening. Unfortunately, it's deep inside the code of the store. And so if you are experiencing the browser lockup, the one browser that we have the least issues with is Firefox. So apologies for making you download a different browser, blah, blah, blah. But if you are running into the lockup with the browser, Firefox is your friend in this case. So apologies for that. We're working hard on the fix.
And it's not everybody using Chrome that's having the problem. It's like in the office, it's just me.
But well, I started encountering it today too, which is why I started yelling about it today. I mean, not yelling.
It was my problem. It wasn't important.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal when Serafina was.
I'm only like on the store all the time.
Right, and writing all the store copy and making the store
testing
entries.
The store.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't do much of anything.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No.
All right. So we're gonna get Chris in here. Atos is gonna do his AAA Ask Atos Anything, and it's been great seeing you guys as always. And remember, stretch goals. So we're getting close.
There
Here he comes. We're getting close.
He brought us a cookie.
For the bite out of it.
Did you bring enough for
everyone?
Whole
get enough for everyone.
No, we're good. All right, and we're getting close. So we're almost at 20,000. So we're getting close to that fish throne. So we can do it.
All right.
All right, here we go. Bye.
Bye, Star.
5-star.
I'm going to be reading the questions. I'm also going to be taking the questions.
We should look.
So, if you want to ask a question, we already have a really long list, so we probably won't be able to get to it. But if you want to ask a question, please at Serafina in Discord, because Twitch sucks for taking questions because it doesn't keep a history of all of them, so they get lost. But all right, I typed at Serafina in Discord if you have any questions. All right.
Getting there. And
Ready?
my wife watched the
Sorry.
Watched the stream a couple weeks ago, and her feedback to me was, "You were okay, but never, never, never eat on camera." Because I think it was one with Winfield, and they brought in the gummy worms, and I was eating gummy worms.
They're Swedish fish.
Oh, here.
Are there any more cookies
This
left?
is for my wife.
Okay, our first question is, who is this from? We don't know.
I messed up on the first couple. Sorry.
Okay, the first person we don't know. With fishing, how long until we can craft those fishing stands with the nets to decorate? Need fishing nets to hang on walls and stall outside a boat for vending. Fish, smiley.
So this is when I should point out that this is a AAA, Ask Atos Anything. This does not mean that Atos always has the answers.
So that's
so we're going to have a bunch of questions on fishing, I know, and I can go ahead and say that Beezes is working feverishly on that. You should send him beer or Longhorns football tickets or something if you like what he's doing, and see if he'll work even harder on it. But that is pretty much his life, is fishing stuff right now.
This sounds like a deco thing too.
Yeah, and right now the main thing he's working on is getting the uncommon and rare fish trophies wrapped up. It's a lot of tedious work, and if you've seen it, he's got spreadsheets and hundreds of columns on everything that he shows off to anybody who will come over and look at it. And he talks about it like he's super interested in it, but I think he's getting close.
Strike through.
But anyways, once he's done with the fish trophy stuff, then he can work on the other things.
Okay, I'll get to an Atos question. This is from Striker Sparhawk. What technical challenge would it be to place the ether amplifier? And no, that's not a Chris question.
Why not? That's Sparhawk asked that.
Yeah, ether amplifier
is a usable pot deco. I don't think there'd be any challenge. I'm not sure why we don't have that. That's one of the things we actually talked about, was like the other place was as dungeons get more and more filled out. You have to get closer to you, so I'm not half off the screen.
Can we get a book? Can we?
I didn't get the answer.
Oh, sorry.
But no, I don't think there's any technical challenge. I'm not sure why we haven't made a pot deco one that could have like a bigger radius or something like that too. The other is making a dungeon one. So basically you can have like Muzak playing in your dungeon 24/7. What do you think about that? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muzak. Some like Muzak versions of Disney hits or something like that.
They're right here in Austin, though. That's where Muzak is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can we get a book editor so you don't have to remember formatting codes for colors, etc.? From Cardall. Don't eat on camera.
I got like one bite left. So yeah, I mean, that's something we've talked about adding and looked into finding some easy to implement open source type things that we could drop in. But we just haven't found anything that works with what we need it to work for and does what we need, and we just haven't had the UI time. This time, Wizard Smoke's primary guy for doing UI stuff, and you can see his work. Well, a lot of it is not visible, but it is helping the game immensely, which is with the quest debugging stuff, helping bulletproof the quest and making tools to help identify all that type of stuff. You can also see his work this release with the skills, or the buff bar, where you have like 2 rows, and it used to be like it'd cover up like the guy below you or whatever, where it now collapses down, although there's a bug in that right now. I think he has it fixed already, where you're fighting a creature and the creature shows that it has your buffs as well. So, whoops. But yeah, we just haven't had time to get to it. That is one of the things on the list that we just We think books are an amazing addition to the game. We'd love to make them easier for you guys.
Is it possible to have a wax cylinder player play a custom soundtrack for the dungeon, for your player dungeon?
Yeah.
This is also from Caradal.
Yeah, I actually really like that idea and having the dungeon-based one because it would echo through your whole dungeon. It should cover the whole dungeon, one ether amplifier, don't you think?
Yeah,
Don't you think?
that'd be fun.
Be echoing through there. Yeah, I like that idea. That's cool.
Should have a dungeon where you just play all the top hits from ABBA.
That's what we listen to at home all the time. At first, I was disappointed. I put on the Bee Gees for Maxine. I was, Maxine, you're gonna love the Bee Gees. And I was like, I don't recognize hardly any of these songs. And
Yeah,
I
they have,
realized
like,
it was really I
two-
wanted ABBA, not Bee Gees. I get those two confused. They're easy to confuse.
Tila Tenderfoot asks, any timeline on Sun Moon skills?
So I think most people know I've been talking about these for a while, and they've been the reason I haven't worked on them. Well, multiple reasons. One, I'm crazy busy trying to get, as people now know, the changes to our trial, our new user experience, the dungeon stuff, performance, all these other things. I just haven't had time, but I haven't pushed. I still could have worked them in probably if I wanted to prioritize them. But our Damon is the guy that does the VFX for those. He just hasn't had time to do any VFX. So yes, I do plan on getting those in soon. But as I've said, and both apologize to existing players, but hopefully they'll understand, 100% of our focus almost has been on making sure the new user experience is good, that we could get players in the game. 100% of it basically boils down to we want to get more players into the game. And adding more sun and moon skills wasn't high on that priority list. But we kind of got over the hump now on all the things we want to do to get new players into the game and make it enjoyable. So hopefully I can get to those possibly by the end of the year.
Remember, there are only like 15 of us now. There were only 15.
We do the work of 10 each.
Yeah. Have you ever played poker with Richard and or Star? What are their tells? That's from Lone Stranger Excelcure.
That's good. That's more in the AAA line. I actually was a big poker player for a long time. Played like a little bit in Vegas. Had a bunch of poker parties that I hosted. I hosted 11 big poker parties at my house with up to 50 people. Star and Richard never graced us with their presence. Started to come to our house for a few other things, but not for poker parties. But I'm pretty sure Damon has been to our house for poker parties, and Rick. I hate to compliment Rick on anything because we like to troll each other immensely. But Rick is actually a pretty good poker player. He actually, I'm thinking he finished in the top. Like he was always last table because we would start with 4 or 5 tables to collapse down. But Rick is a pretty good poker player, mainly because he's got the whole trolling thing down, which a lot of that is straight face, basically.
He's got like literally the best poker face.
Yeah.
Just like in everyday life.
You never know if he's screwing with you, and that translates over well to poker stuff. So I've not played with Richard and Star. I will try to get them to my house to play poker sometime soon. We'll see who wins.
I heard Star's tell is his eye will start bleeding. Like in Casino Royale, Mads Mikkelsen's character.
Remember?
No.
That's
a great poker movie. Tina O'Neill asks if we're going to keep the global bank. Can we remove the location field? It doesn't seem to do anything.
We actually talked about this, and it would be trivial to remove, but then we were like, well, maybe you'd want to be able to see like where you put things into the bank, and having the field there might help. So maybe just for organization. So we could have taken it out, but we went ahead and left it in just because we thought there might be somebody who got upset if we pulled it out and it was trivial to leave it in.
Yeah, so if we pulled it out and then enough people were like, no, I want it back in.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah.
We try to not make changes unless there's a good reason to do it, because anytime we make even small changes, sometimes someone out there gets upset with us about things. So
don't look at the frequently asked questions section of the website today.
Uh-oh,
something changed. Peebo. What?
I was going to go look at
see if you can spot the difference. Peebo asks, Why do creatures get a crowd control debuff against players, and yet we don't get a crowd control debuff against them?
That is a great question. But first, woohoo! 20. It's 25,000.
Nope,
Never mind.
nope. But still, woohoo!
20,000.
Why not?
Woo!
Yeah.
20,000.
We are less than 5,000 away from
Cookie
our
shop.
next. I don't get one. And our next stretch goal, which is the Fish Throne, which is the toilet at Red Lobster.
So creatures, you don't get debuffs the way creatures do because you have ways that you can cancel most effects, almost everything, either cancel or void. Creatures, this will come as no surprise to most people, but our creatures are dumb. They do have decent AI, but they are still dumb compared to players. So that is part of the reason is we expect you guys to be able to cancel it. For them, we give them resist debuffs. It also makes for more planning and strategy for you guys if you know how things work and understand. If they were actually trying to do the same thing you did, where they remove things constantly, it might be more difficult to come up with a strategy. But anyways, that's why.
Okay. Cardell's asking a lot of questions. I'm going to skip Cardell for a second.
What?
Okay. Tila Tenderfoot asks, when will the shield block 75% of damage from arrows and not 100% in PvP?
This is one I had actually been asked before and I forgot about. So I will try and go and get a Jira created for this because it probably is a trivial thing. It's not something that's intentional, but I'll go look at it. I just saw people on the Blood Bay PvP channel talking about that shields apparently can block 100%. That was not intended. But yes, I will try and look at that. Not intentional.
Caffeine asks.
I said I wasn't going to answer any of his because he said he had trouble because there's apparently a Fallout 76 stream at the same time. Now all the people fall off our channel. Oh, Fallout 76 stream. But anyways, and he had to choose between one or the other. So he was going to watch that one since we put ours up recorded afterwards.
Oh, so we won't answer.
Take that, caffeine. Let me see if it's a good question.
Isn't that already in?
Yeah.
Will fire resistance from skills be re-enabled someday?
I'm not sure entirely what he's talking about on that. Maybe somebody's going to inform me on Discord, but I'm not quite sure on that one.
Yeah, if you guys are commenting on the stream, I'm trying to keep up with Discord and Twitch, but we have too many screens going on. Tila Tenderfoot asks, Purify removes fire dots. Is that intended?
That was not intended. It seemed there was a rumor going around it was. That it may have been something that I mentioned I was considering looking at, but Purify does enough already, and the buff part is fixed. I do still, for those who are Purify fans, which I had no idea how many there were out there.
Pura fans.
Pure fans. For the Pure fans who are also life specialists, the Purify special effect on it, I'm going to have to rework that. I intended to do that, but that's actually when I broke it the first time unintentionally. Yeah, it's not supposed to be removing that. There was some logic rewritten so we can control how many things are removed by Purify. So it doesn't just like remove everything. That removes a certain number, and it's based on your skill and some other stuff. But there's some wackiness in how that works. That's one of those very early skills. And we probably need to look at the underlying logic for how we remove things and handle that stuff, just because it's long overdue for a rewrite.
Okay, Kurt asks, what would be needed to make scenes have seasons?
A lot of content. It wouldn't be that horrible. At the simplest level, it would basically be we need different tree versions, we need different plant versions, we need different grass versions. We have some of that in that they allow us to tint and update things. So we could do if it was just the grass and that, and then the next thing would be, of course, like terrains, because a lot of the grasses, some of them are physical on top, some of them are built into the textures, and those get difficult to like keep in sync. So it'd be weird if you had like my grass is, yellow, but that grass is not. and then it's got to all match up. So it's just a lot of data work that we haven't got around to doing yet. We are using a system called speed trees now, and those can handle all that. We can like pull the leaves off and tint them and all that.
Okay. Since there are fishing group bonuses, will there be mining chain gain bonuses if we mine in a group? Oh, sorry, that was from Caffeine. But answer it anyway.
We had not planned on doing mining chain gangs. Just the fishing thing is we kind of consider it's like, all real crafting, forging skills out there, and then like fishing's kind of on its own in a different place, and we're trying to make it a different type of experience. Just because it is in most games, it's not really seen as a choose fishing or choose mining or something like that. It's kind of the hardcore skills, and then the fishing's kind of the for fun type stuff. So we hadn't thought about doing that because mining's supposed to be work, fishing's supposed to be fun. People actually fish for fun.
Ugh. Oh, guess what?
Cookie time! Cookie time! Cookie time!
Okay, we got some prizes to give out. The fishing sign 9-pack goes to Michael Macbeth. The wood duck goes to Red McMiner. Ornate umbrella goes to Soul. Viking bathtub goes to Dark Barnabas. The gondola water decoration goes to Freya. Pirate Galleon Town Waterhome goes to Parson Bar. The player-owned town village water lot conversion goes to Uwaka. The player-owned town village water lot property deed goes to Silver Angel. Yay! I think we should switch over to the Discord questions now that have been piling up. Is that okay with you, Atos?
It is, but that's where I pulled up most of them.
No, but now they're adding me.
Okay.
Since we started streaming.
All right.
All right.
Ask me anything.
Let's see. How much impact does attunement have on magic? Is there a formula which may be shared? That's from Presto Bridge Patrol.
Yes, there is a formula. Probably if you look back a long time in my blog, you'll see that I posted some of the formulas. I would want to go double check to make sure it's in there. Attunement can make a huge difference, as players will tell you. It is... trying to remember what the divisor is. Roughly every 150 points will double the effectiveness. I can put out the formula again. I don't think it's changed, but it might have. And for those who don't know, attunement is it takes your attunement, the caster's attunement, and for the defender, they get their whatever resistance, like death magic, they'll get their death resistance plus half of their death attunement. And then it compares those two numbers. So it's possible to be resistant without having a high attunement, but having attunement in something also does help you resist some. Just it's not a 1-to-1, like 150 versus 150 is really 150 versus 75 because he only gets half of his attunement. So. But anyways, yes, it does make a tremendous difference. It's probably the most important fact. That and intelligence are the two most important facts on our numbers in the calculation of damage and effect.
I've seen at least 2 people ask, most recently from Griffler. The spider dungeon room, is it dropping?
No, it's not dropping.
Oops.
I thought it was. The rotunda I have confirmed is dropping. The spider room is not dropping, and I don't know why. It wasn't a loot bundle. I have to go check. There's actually several dungeon rooms out there for people who are banging their heads against things right now. There are several dungeons not dropping. That is one of them. The Lich room has not dropped in the Owl's Head. There's one in the final room of the Owl's Head sewers. There's been a lot of action in the Owl's Head sewers. I can pull up some charts here in a minute if we want to and show off some of the data that I pulled on that so we can see how many people are fishing this release, how many people go into Owl's Head sewers, Kodo prices, and some other things. But anyways, so no, those are not dropping. I have to look into why those are. I'm also looking into why Razox, the boss at the bottom of Owl's Head, that nobody knows his name because he's got the wrong name on him, and I think there's something screwed up in the spawner, but I'm going to go look at it. There's been a lot of people touching that lately, so I gotta go verify. But those are not dropping. The rotunda is definitely dropping. I forget how many have dropped, but like maybe 5 have dropped, which means you guys are farming the crap out of that place because it's a pretty rare drop.
Couple people asking about Pumpkinhead. Synergy Blaze is asking, is Pumpkinhead loot going to be improved? He's hard work.
He is hard work. You got to keep all the pumpkins destroyed around him. And the Pumpkinhead and also Razox at the bottom of Owl's Head Sewer both use the new mechanic that I've mentioned before, which is we give them bonuses based on the number of item X nearby. Where Pumpkinhead, it's the pumpkins around him. So it's not the other little pumpkin heads, because there's little pumpkin heads. It's actually the number of pumpkins out there. So you have to go around smashing all the pumpkins in the field. Smashing pumpkins. It's an important thing to do.
1979.
But yes, he currently is supposed to be dropping his staff. I have not verified it's dropping. We seem to be having some problems with the loot bundle stuff getting updated here recently. So I will verify that he is actually dropping his unique staff that has a unique look and some unique skills to it.
Blue asks, if we create our own Unity asset monsters, can we have them added to our dungeons?
Probably no. If they're game quality, I mean, we'll take. We've put other things in there before. We've got a lot of furniture in game that players have made in the old days when we were trying to do pushing for crowdsourcing on as many things as we could. Creatures, I don't think we've ever taken one. It takes a lot more skill to make a skinned mesh like that. And then there's also a lot more mechanics to it for like, okay, it can't just be the mesh. It's got to have like, here's the animations that go with it. And here's how the animations blend together using our system and those type things. Melchior is one of the guys in the old days that he actually made one that I wish I could get in. But I just have never gone back to dig up the missing pieces, try to fix the animations. Little sand frog, little sand toad, squeak. That's a noise it made.
Zeres asks, can the glyphs get locked so they don't rearrange in the heat of battle? Please.
I'm not sure what they're referring to. Can the glyphs get locked?
All right, we'll skip that one.
Yeah. The glyphs you can lock them yourself. Maybe that's someone who doesn't understand. You can right click on them and lock them so that they become locked in place rather than being dealt. If you're using the dealt version, that has some big obvious advantages that we'll talk about as soon as List Corpor Travis is here.
You just combine.
I don't know.
He's got like 3 different names.
He's got multiple different names. Travis. When Travis is back. For those who you guys probably told him, but we were supposed to do a talk today specifically covering all the deck stuff and the changes and how to build. And he had a bunch of stuff set up that he wanted to talk about and go through his different builds and how they all work together and why they make sense. And then his son was stung on the face by wasps multiple times.
Wasp attack!
Yeah. And he got called away to go take care of his son, obviously, from school. So we decided we would reschedule that one.
Zhang asks, would it be possible to display the amount of monsters the boss is being influenced by?
Ooh. Yeah, I actually had thought about that. As always, though, I'm working right up until the last minute, and that was one of those, like, what would be a nice feature is if I actually because I could put a buff icon on them and show them, like, give them a buff name that would be +9 pumpkins or something like that, or +5 undead. The boss at the bottom of the Owl's Head Sewer uses undead, so you got to kill all the skeletons around them. Which actually can be kind of tough because the skeletons will stay laying down unless they see you, and they may not see you unless they stand up, and they're kind of up on up on these platforms.
On the
I thought I was doing the orangutan thing there. I was doing. But yeah, that would be good to have show a buff on them that gave a number of +9 pumpkins.
Dulane asks, is it possible to make it so a chat window could be disabled for cursor input to be read-only?
You never accidentally type and let people know you're a lurker?
Yeah. I think he's probably referring to universe chat.
Uh-huh.
If you're talking about universe chat, you can just put the orb in your bank, and you can still read the chat. You just can't send anything, even accidentally. So I think you could probably do that with the Nobles chat too. It's item based.
Also, I just want to say I did some searching on the the universal chat. And for those who hadn't figured out, we didn't do global chat because then we got to do like /GL. But we did, that's why we're universe chat. We had a /U open versus /G was already like guild group. But anyways, there were over 5,000 messages sent between launch and when I went to bed last night. And I think there was only like 5 S bombs and 2 F bombs and the language was actually really good. I didn't see any racial slurs. I didn't see any.
We don't tolerate racial slurs.
Yeah, I didn't see any misogynist stuff. And yes, that's actually what
Or
I was doing.
misogyny.
Was I was going into like if I see people doing that type of stuff or I hear reports of that, then I'll probably just open them up and destroy their orb.
Haha!
Ha! Take that. But anyways, you guys were actually very well behaved. So
yeah, I
good
was
job.
lurking. I saw people being very excited about it and being nice and playing the game and role playing instead of being like, I'm a jerk. That's how I act online. This is a feature request from Engineer. Crystal Cavern Dungeon segments.
So let me talk some more about dungeon segments. I have not got to those. I do like the idea of doing those. But the dungeons, I actually have 6 pieces that, in addition to the ones that should be dropping and aren't, which is there's already a couple of the others, but I've got 6 other pieces that are rooms from other things that I managed to create the dungeon piece for them, put it all together, get all the data set up. It is insanely tedious, and I need to simplify that process some. But I did not. I got that part done. I'd done some testing, but I didn't have time to create the blueprints and the recipes. That's the easier part. So I'm going to try to get those in either this weekend or early next week, and I will make sure that those other ones are dropping and get them. I'm not sure on why some of them are not dropping. I think there's some magic going on that I'm not aware of, that something changed.
All right, we only have 3 minutes. Do you have any questions that you remember you really wanted to answer?
Let's see. Let's see. I'm going down through the list. Some people were asking about faction system for PvP, which I told them I'm not going to answer because that's one that List Core Poor Travis will want to answer as well. Let's see. Raffle drawn yet? Yes, the raffle has been drawn. Chaos is the guy who is the holdup now. I can pass the buck to him on that. I did the raffle draw.
I think it's done.
Maybe announced even. Let's see. Donna's Moon Whisper wants any chance to have a long skirt pattern like the merchant one. I guess there's a merchant with a long skirt pattern. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, there are a couple.
I'm a guy and I don't notice clothing or hair.
Well, the it's like a man, like a Renaissance man skirt. What about the pattern?
They want one. Donna's Moon Whisper wants one.
If you find gear that does not have a pattern yet, put it in the bug forums, and I will put in a request for it. Because there's just some gear that we haven't gotten to.
Tina O'Neill asked, in light of the Greek and Roman statues were painted, can we get the statues dyeable? Interesting idea. We're just working through those various things, trying to get them dyeable a few each release. So
yeah, we didn't put any new ones in this release, but I think we decided no on statues.
No painting on statues?
Yeah. But if you mean like...
Bursted that bubble?
If you mean like statues that were painted like how they actually were in ancient Greece, because they were actually very colorful and the paints wore off from weathering over time, and that's why we see them as white, but they were really gaudily painted. back in. I feel like Scotty right now, actually. That could be a cool request. Maybe request it.
I just want to say I like sitting here because I realized having all these blue signs behind me makes my eyes look really blue. Creamy.
I'm also wearing blue.
Let me get through a few more questions here. I gotta find some. Can we put up queue system for the Obsidian Trials for Artists? That is absolutely something we're going to do. That is on the short list. Once there's going to be a bunch of bugs that come up from that Travis is going to have to deal with some of the new user stuff and a few other things. But that will be on the very short list. And that is pretty much everybody's like, this would be super cool if we had a queue system. I could just sign up for the queue, and then when we got up to 10 people, it would say queue forming, and then you just hit one button, teleport there, and be done with it. That is absolutely what we have planned. Not for our 60 though, but that is on the list of the very short list. When will Wolfdom ask? When we'll be able to mount rare fish that we've caught? I got to meet Wolfdom at the SodaCon. That was good. He came all the way from Australia.
It was the one passing the microphone around.
Was
right?
he?
I don't know. Maybe it was somebody else.
But anyways, when will we be able to mount rare fish that we've caught? And the answer is as soon as Beezus gets through them, he's working through them as fast as he can. And that's what he is working on like right now. So those may be the fact that he's working on them now means we're going to try to get him in for this release.
working on it right now.
Let's see. What can you tell me about how pumpkins function in the current release? How do we grow different sized pumpkins? That one I honestly don't know. I know there's some ways. Do you know?
You don't. You can harvest. You can take pumpkins from the world.
They can grow
their own.
Yeah, they can grow the giant pumpkins.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we should get B in here to answer that.
He's not at his desk.
Okay, well,
I lied when I said he was. It's the magic of television.
Let's see. Cindaria asked, when will dungeon rooms stay in the orientation we set them? That's the first I've heard that. I haven't seen that reported.
They're rotating?
Yeah, Tazar normally gives me all the feedback on the dungeon stuff. He's actually got some feedback for me that I've got in a queue for one and only. But apparently what they're saying, or Cindaria is saying, is that she puts them down, but then when she comes back, you can rotate them when you put them down. And when she comes back, they're all rotated to the default thing. So they're not connecting, like maybe it's got to be like if you connect it on anything other than the one, then it flips back to the one. So I'm not sure how that could have happened or how we could have missed that, because I built some pretty big dungeons just because I was trying to break it too. I'm sure Tazar and other people will break here shortly. But we'll definitely get that on the short list of things to look at for patch for this release.
Remember, dungeons are a work in progress.
Yes, and that is a good thing to point out, is the dungeons, while we're getting those out to you, this is really, again, we're rolling it out slow. It's all testing. There's a good chance if you have your like perfect 2,000 point dungeon built that's all perfect and exact and whatever, there's a good chance we may say, hey, guess what? We found a major problem. We're going to pick up all the dungeon pieces. They're going to go back to your inventory or your bank.
Yeah.
We don't know that that's going to happen, but that's definitely something that could happen. Because we have seen some things like, hey, this dungeon piece leaves a gap here, which then makes it so there's a gap over there and you can't connect these pieces and it breaks all this stuff. And it may be one of those things where like, well, to fix this, we've actually got to go and like pick up all those pieces, which will pick up. So, anyways,
but keep playing around with them. And when you report bugs, please give us repro steps.
And I will get you another 5 or 6 different dropped pieces this release. I will warn you that several of them come from the fall. For those who
you mean R60?
No, for R59.
Oh. Okay.
I do that stuff.
All right.
I'm bad. Lockdown. But they'll be from the fall is where a number of the rooms are, just because, not because I love the fall, but because the fall has a lot of cool rooms. If you go look around in there, there's a lot of these big cathedral rooms and tall rooms, and, long rooms, and then like just some cool rooms in there. That again was a Travis. He did most of that geometry work in there. So good work, Travis, because I went and looked through a bunch of places that had the coolest ones. So anyways, yes. Work in progress, continuing to add features. This release we got in Deco. I do not have all the Deco surfaces in yet. That is the tedious part that I was mentioning earlier, is actually adding deco surfaces thing. Actually, most of them should have deco surfaces on the floor, but not on the walls. A few of them have them on the walls, but not all of them.
Should we take one more question?
We'll take one more question. Make it a good one.
Oh,
Oh, you were expecting me to pull it. Let's see. I guess we'll finish it off with one on the dungeons as well. Folks said that I always have trouble. Folks. That's our mispronounced, multiple ways to pronounce the word for the day. Wyvern, melee. But folks said that blueprints from the Rise or Ravensmore drop the same lich room. Yes, that is one that I am aware of. And again, there's some weird thing going on because the guy who's at the bottom of Owl's Head Sewer is not supposed to be the same guy who's in the Rise, but he has different innates. But this is all, I think I've got something screwed up because we basically broke out how everything works, so we didn't have to have a million instant different copies if we want to like change up one thing, like make this lich boss the same as this one, but I want to add this one feature. In the old days, we had to basically duplicate and then make a whole new one, which sounds like, well, that's the easy thing. Well, that's easy for that first part, but then you want to go back and say, hey, we want to lower the experience by 1,000, and then you have to go and edit every one that you just duplicated. And we had basically done that to the point that we had like 200 creatures, and we were getting like, well, I want to have skin variations and color variations to them. It's like, well, now you got 400 things. So anyways, we broke up how those things worked, and I think there's a bad connection on something we have to look at. But anyways, yes, I will have those split up soon so that the Ravensmore drops only in Ravensmore, the Rise one drops only in the Rise, and soon the Fall one only drops in the Fall, and the Owl's Head Sewer one only drops in the Owl's Head Sewer.
Great. That's it for this lightning round of questions. Remember, next week, starting at 3 p.m. on Friday, we will be doing our 4-hour live stream, and there will be more Q&A. Please ask questions on the R59 live stream post for a better chance to get your questions answered in a more formal way too. Anyway, we will see you next week, 3 p.m. Friday.
See you there.
Bye.